What's up guys? This is a video for eWheels customers looking to change their motor and the tire on the Kingsong S22. So to get this thing apart, you're gonna need an impact driver with a Phillips head. There's some smaller screws as well, so you're gonna want a regular Phillips. A 4mm hex key for your impact drill, and two 5mm hex keys. To loosen the screws for the fender, you'll want a heat gun. It'll help out a lot. And then if you're going to be replacing the tire, a couple of tire wrenches. So you're gonna start by removing this plastic trim piece on top. It's a good place for your screwdriver. These two silver screws on top. And then this whole piece just lifts off. You're gonna take your 4mm bit and you're gonna remove these screws along the top, supporting the control board. Once these 8 screws are removed, the entire control board simply lifts up, and you're gonna want to unplug all of this mess. Make sure you're pressing the tab when you remove these smaller connectors. Once that's removed, you're gonna want to discharge the controller board by pressing the power button. Just keep pressing it until it stops beeping. Then you're going to want to remove the motor wire cover here. And this will just simply lift right off. There might be a little bit of silicone locking against the cable there, but just lift that right off. And then make sure you take careful note to where these motor cables are plugged in. If you're not filming like we are right now, then just take a photo, make sure it's plugged in. In my case, it's plugged in blue, green, yellow, but that might change over the course of production. They'll be a little stiff, but you just pull them right out. And then you're gonna remove the hall sensor connector here. Make sure you press that little tab and lift it right out. At this point, your control board is completely free. After that, you're gonna flip your wheel forward and you're gonna take care of these 6 4mm bolts here. Gently force it. At this point, your suspension system is entirely free. You're just gonna need to remove these little dog bone pieces here. So you're gonna be able to slide this as you need and rotate the tire so that you can reach through, because you're gonna need to stabilize this bolt while also reaching through and unscrewing it from the other side. For the first one, it might be easier to unscrew it from the outer side and only stabilize it from the inside. Mine had this little washer piece, but I suspect it's a piece of the inner bearing here. So just make sure you don't lose that and put it back when you're done. Just like that. And one more time for this side. Here it's a lot easier to reach through this hole here. Line everything up and give it a twist. Tip this guy upright and lift straight up. So at this point your motor is free and you're almost there. There's just 8 more screws that you need to get to, and unfortunately these are the hardest. It's these 4 on both sides. and there's a whole lot of Loctite, which makes it pretty easy to strip. This is where your heat gun will come in handy. Just hit it for a few minutes, heat up those bolts, and the Loctite will come loose. At this point, these screws should be a whole lot easier to get out. You're still gonna wanna set your tension pretty high and make sure you're using a good quality bit. If this is rounding at all, you're gonna have a bad day. But go ahead. At this point, you need to just get your motor cable free. I was able to get it out without removing these screws, but if you need to, there's two little screws right here that release this upper portion and allow you to get the cable free. Pull your cable free and just thread your motor cable very carefully. As you work it free. There you have it. There's the motor. After you've removed the fender, you've got your motor free. This is the part you're gonna be changing out. If you wanna change the tire, now's the time to do it. Go deflate the tire, use your tire wrenches, work them all the way around. Change the tube, change the tire, whatever you need to do. But right now we're just gonna put it all back together. So you're gonna start by putting your fender back on. Again, being careful to thread your motor cable back through. Slot your motor cable back through this little channel here. Just a good press will do it. These two little screws at the top here are pretty fragile, so I broke one. I'm down to one screw, but go ahead and thread that back in. The other annoying piece about this fender are these rubber stoppers here for your suspension. They come out pretty easily, but there's a little hole in the back and you just line that up and push it back in. You're gonna put those 8 screws back in where they go. So rotate your fender around until those 4 screw holes match up again. And in they go. It's helpful if you don't tension them down all the way at first, just because there's some flex in this piece. So that'll let you line everything up. Now you're gonna line the rest of your electric unicycle body up with your motor, and this part can be a little tricky. You might want a friend, but definitely make sure that these rubber stops are out and perpendicular as they are here. Grab this and drop it down. Make sure you route that motor cable through. Once that's all lined up, just tip it forward. Grab your 2 little dog bone pieces for the suspension, and the orientation of these is important. So when the screw faces up, one's gonna be a letter P and one is gonna be a backwards P, and the P goes on the right side. So grab this, thread it in. Once that dog bone piece is in there, grab those 2 5mm tools and this screw right here, and we're gonna thread it through like we did before. Just make sure when you tension down those bolts that this piece can still rotate freely. Grab your other dog bone, thread it through the other side. Grab those 2 little screws. It's helpful to thread it just a little bit before you push this through. Next, you're going to line up your suspension so that it screws into the same bolts you had before. In my case, the suspension was screwed in 2 holes above the bottom. this point, you can tip your wheel back upright, and your suspension should be all connected. Like so. Here's your controller board. You're gonna plug the motor back in. I would probably start with the Hall sensor and move down. Make sure everything clicks. Like so. Grab your motor wire cover, place that back on top. And then very carefully, you're gonna plug your power back in. I would start with the smaller connectors and then move up to the XT connectors. Clamp everything back down. Shove these cables in gently. Make sure you're not pinching anything, and make sure that your rubber gasket around the edge here is intact. Screw down these 8.4mm bolts on top. These don't have to be tensioned as far. You can turn down the power on your driver here. Last but not least, put your little piece of plastic trim back on top and screw it in. All right, now you can go ahead and try power it on. And there you go, just like that, you've changed your motor. Hopefully this video was helpful. See you on the next one.